Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful A-line gown for a 1 year old baby. So if this is what you are ready to see, continue watching. This tutorial is also going to teach you how to achieve this neat and perfectly lined inside of the gown. Welcome. So these are the materials we will need. You will need your fabric of choice and the lining that matches it. I'm using an African print for this. You will also need your scissors. You will need your curve rule. You will need your measuring tape, your chalk and your ruler as well. I have folded my fabric into four and I'm just ruling a line here which is going to be the starting line, or you can call it the shoulder line. So this is the measurement that I'm working with. It is for a 1 year old child. So I'm measuring a shoulder measurement divided by 2. It is 8.5 divided by 2 is 4.25. So I'm just measuring that. So I'm showing you I've folded the fabric into four because I want to cut the front and the back together. I'm just measuring the shoulder again so that it can be more visible. Then I'm coming down by half inch for the shoulder slope. I had to change my chalk there because it wasn't showing well on the fabric. Then the full length I want to work with is 19 inches. Then I'm going to be adding half inch to that for sewing allowance, making it 19.5 inches. So I'm just going to connect from that shoulder slope to the shoulder line, but before that I'm going to be inputting the neck width, which is 1.5 inches. Then the neck depth I came down by 2 inches. Then I'm just going to connect that with my curve rule. Then after connecting it with my curve rule, I'm going to use my ruler to connect that shoulder slant into the neckline, just as you see me doing. Then from that shoulder slope or shoulder slant, I'm coming down by our armhole, which is 3.75. Then from there, I am measuring a bust measurement or chest measurement divided by 4, which is 4.75. I just made that 5 inches. I estimated it to 5 inches. Now, children don't really have this waistline and all, so I'm just coming down few inches below the chest to mark the waist, and the waist is 20 inches divided by 4 is going to give us 5. So I just marked it there, but I later realized that you won't need the waist measurements, you only need the hip and the chest. So on the M line, I'm measuring our hip divided by 4, which is 5.25. Then I'm adding 1.5 inches for the ease, then 1 inch for sewing allowance. I later added 1 inch for sewing allowance at the chest line also. Then I'm connecting that chest line to the hip line or to the full length that I want this dress to be. Now for her armhole, I'm just ruling a straight line from that shoulder measurement down to the chest line. Then from that shoulder slope, I'm measuring what I have, which was about 4 inches. Then I just divided that into two. Then I came in by half quarter of an inch. I came in by quarter of an inch. Then I just connected those 3 points, the quarter of an inch point, the chest line point and the shoulder slope point. I connected those 3 points to give me my armhole, and that's basically all. What I'm going to do now is just to cut this out. So after cutting, this is what I have. I'm just going to open it up, then pick one for the front and pick one for the back. The back is going to have an opening. So that is what you are trying to create now. So I just folded one piece into two. Then from that neck depth, I came down by 3 inches for the length of the back opening. Then I just made a small cut, not up to quarter of an inch. Then I just cut it from the neck depth down to the 3 inches point. Make sure you align the clothes perfectly before doing this so that it should come out perfectly. I was just showing you what I cut out. So after opening it, this is how it should look like. It should look like a V. Then this is the front pattern or the front part. So I'm just going to cut out the lining exactly like the fabric. So after cutting it out, I had to iron the fabric and the lining also. So this is the lining. I cut it exactly how it is for the front and also for the back. And I made sure to iron it very, very well. Always iron as you are sewing. It makes your work look neat. So this is the back of the lining also. You can see I've cut out the opening at the back. So I'm just going to open up the front part and place the lining on it, right side to right side. Then we're going to stitch down the armhole, the neckline, the two armholes and the neckline. Those are the only parts we're going to stitch down. I just stitch that down with about quarter of an inch, just the armhole and the neckline. That's all. So after stitching it down, I've notched it and I've ironed it well. Can you see how neat it looks? Make sure to notch the armhole and the neckline so it can come out looking neat. So this is the back. Then I'm also placing the back also right side to right side. Then we're going to sew the opening like that, like that. Make sure you sew the opening very, very well and also notch and iron it when you are done. So this after I'm sewing it, I make sure to notch that middle of the opening so it can come out flat. So just notch it. Then before you turn it over to the right side, place the front pattern on the back pattern, right sides together. Then match the shoulder line after the neck sewing. They were just going to cover it up like this. They were just going to sew it. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I don't really know how to explain it, but just do it like that. Then after you have done it, sew the armhole of only the back. Make sure the front piece doesn't get in the way of your sewing. I'm just going to show you again in case you didn't get it the first time. Just place the front on the back like this, then sew the shoulder, then sew the armhole. So this is it after I've sewed it. I've also turned it to the right side and make sure to also notch the armhole. Then I've ironed it also. Now we want to sew the down. We are going to pick the front piece. Make sure you don't make mistake while doing this. Then when you pick the front piece, both the fabric and the lining, you fold it in like this. Make sure that the back piece is inside. Hope you get what I'm saying. Okay, then you're just going to pin down the end just like this. Then we're going to sew it with the half an inch we left as sewing allowance. So I'm just pinning it down. Make sure you pin it down before you sew. I just want to show you again in case you didn't get it. Now this is the back part. Fold the front part inside and make sure that the right side of the back are aligned together. Then sew it with half an inch. So I've sewed it, I've also ironed it. You can see how neat it's looking. Now it is time to sew the sides. So we're just going to pick the African print or your material to one side, then the lining to another side. Please watch carefully what I'm doing. It is easy, just watch what I'm doing. So you pick the fabric to fabric, lining to lining, just like that, and you pin it down. I've pinned it down because we are going to sew it now. So make sure you pin it down before you sew it. Then I'm going to be measuring the seam allowance. I actually wanted to use 0.75, but I later used 1 inch, which was what I left. So whatever you left as a stitching allowance, just mark it there. Then we're just going to sew it. Then we're going to sew it for both sides. But on one side, make sure in the lining part you leave about 4 inches, which we are going to use to turn it. Okay, so in the lining part, not the material part, just leave about 4 to 3 inches, which we are going to use to turn it. So you do this for both sides of the clothes or of the dress. Then this is it after I've sewed it. This is it. Then I'm just going to trim the allowance to about half an inch. Make sure you trim it so it doesn't become bulky while inside. Okay, so just trim it. Then after we trim it, we are going to turn it inside out and we're going to see what we've created. So I'm going to leave the measurement of a 1 year old at the end of this video. I forgot to say that earlier. So the measurement I used to create this dress, I'm going to leave it for you as a bonus. So make sure you stick to the end. So I have trimmed the sewing allowance, then I'm just opening it now to the right side. What you have to do now is just to iron this out, iron through, and make sure you sew the opening we left earlier to turn it inside out. So this is the opening. I can see how neat this looks. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a follow, subscribe to my channel, like this video and share it so more people can watch and learn. Till my next video, I love you all. Bye.